Hello, and I am back here on the channel. I apologize. Streamlabs is very finicky. Sometimes I gotta reset stuff to get it to work. And then, it's all gravy after that. But in case you don't know, it's the most electrifying YouTuber and YouTube entertainment today. The man, the myth, the legend, Lee Cole the Fourth, an abbreviated intro. So anyways, I am here to talk about my reaction to everything in Star Wars Celebration, but in particular, only one thing, because everyone's covering everything else. And I've done a brief reaction to the Episode 9 trailer, and there were a lot of things. There was a lot of things that were put out there, but my excitement, my passion was for the Clone Wars Season 9, or Season 7 trailer. Oh God, Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni is so charismatic. I do not understand why this guy is not running the, story epicenter of Lucas. Why he's not in charge of a movie. Because this man is brilliant. So, I'm going over my favorite character, Ahsoka Tano, and I want to give you guys some context here. Why do I like Clone Wars? Clone Wars for me was pretty good until Ahsoka's storyline was introduced. And Ahsoka was at first, to most people, really annoying character, but this character has literally grown up through this series. And her character arc and Amazing is by far and away the best character arc that was established in this pre-universe. And a lot of people can say Obi-Wan and Anakin, but we always knew where that storyline was going. What makes Ahsoka such a great character is literally the character has grown from a young Jedi apprentice, a Padawan, to a knight, and in my mind, a master without getting the title, because by the time she could get the title, the Jedi Order was destroyed. But I would imply that she was a master. So, let me tell you the things that are hyped. Now, as I was saying before, with this trailer, the thing that I love, to highlight one scene, there was a scene in about Season 5 going into Season 6 where the arc was literally the trial of Ahsoka. It's been arguably called one of the best Clone Wars set of episodes ever, and I would agree. I would agree because this showed how far the Jedi had fallen at this point without even realizing it. So, Ahsoka is put through these trials, right? She is outcasted. She is hunted by her own mentor and the council, considered a traitor, as a manipulation tactic. And it's amazing to me because there's things that are never explained, things that were left hanging for all of us Clone Wars fans. And I love the fact that Dave Filoni looks to be splitting this season of Clone Wars between Rex, who's my favorite clone trooper, and Ahsoka, who's my favorite Jedi of that era. And we're getting to see, from the moment where Ahsoka walks away from the council to this overarching arch of how she walks away and how she comes back. And hopefully we'll see how she escapes Order 66, because in Rebels, she comes back after exiling herself and partially blaming herself for the fall of Vader within herself. Now, I've made theories about this, and Ahsoka was a good balance to Anakin, because Ahsoka, as crazy and kind of a direct offshoot of what Anakin was, had her own personality. She had her own charisma. She had her own kind of built-in code. And part of it was learned from Anakin, but part of it was learned from watching and seeing things from an outside lens. And the point that's drove home, my favorite episode that drives this point home, is her trial. Her trial solidifies how she even has wisdom beyond the Jedi Council herself. That final moment when Mace Windu and Anakin Skywalker offer her a hand back into the Order, and she snubs them and says, "I am done," is one of the most defining moments for me in the Star Wars universe. Now, you're probably saying, Lee, why is that a defining moment? Why does that one particular moment in time define the Star Wars universe? Two things happen. Two things happen that most people probably didn't pick up on. One, you have Ahsoka, who's essentially a Jedi Knight, or whatever her title is. She's in close relation to Anakin, who has finally seen the problems with the Jedi. So, something we haven't seen, we are seeing cracks within the Council from this war and Palpatine's manipulation. Two, we could have probably started to see right then and there the downfall of Anakin Skywalker. His mentor, him being a mentor to Ahsoka, did what Obi-Wan hoped it would do. It grounded him. But through his youth and through his blindness, he accepted the Council, which would later lead to his downfall when Palpatine manipulates him. And this all started with him not even seeing what his own Padawan was trying to show him, that the Council is broken. And there was a right way for him to approach this, and 2 times he takes the wrong path. This, to me, when Ahsoka walks away from the Council, this to me was a defining moment in the whole dynamic between the Jedi Council, because they have lost touch with their own Jedi. And how can you fight a war and fight the dark side if you can't even keep your people within your order in check and content, like happy, right? Ahsoka was hunted by the Jedi Order. She was hunted down and treated like a traitor. And she was clearly mad about that, and why wouldn't she be? She was doubted by her own master, a man she had went into battle with. Someone she had almost laid her life down numerous times. And all of these people that she had fought side by side with, who she thought would have their back when she needed it the most, and they turned away. They turned their back on her the first chance it looked like she might be connected in some kind of a plot with the dark side. This goes to the themes of what destroyed the Jedi Council. Fear. Okay? Doubt. The things that they stand against were the things that were destroying them. And Ahsoka's character embodies all of these fears and doubts that were being manifested within the Jedi Council. The Council had been self-destructing, and it was accelerated, in my mind, in this moment when they turned their back on one of their own. They should have had Ahsoka's back from the very onset, but they did not. They left her out in the cold. And she, in turn, said, "I am done." And she had found evidence that there was a plot within the Jedi Council itself, within the records itself. And because of this, she was framed. Now, this is a defining moment now, when you think about it, to the fall of the Jedi within itself. She had the information to warn them about Order 66. And at that moment, she could have joined the ranks again and passed on this information. But she did not. She turned her back on the council. And this would start her with her biggest regret of feeling she didn't do enough to save Anakin. And it also, in a way, is one of the big reasons for the downfall of the council within itself. She had the info and chose to just let them go about their business. And this lends a lot of depth, because is she responsible? Is she responsible essentially for the downfall of the council? Is that the greatest sin she always talks about in Rebels? Nice of you to join me. I'm talking about my favorite character and the hype behind the Season 7 Clone Wars trailer. Fire. That was the hottest thing at Celebration in my mind. That Clone Wars trailer is lit, and I will endorse that. I'm sorry, I don't care what people say about the Disney streaming service. I will endorse that, because that trailer was fire. Dave Filoni was drunk introducing it. That's how you launch a trailer. Filoni, I love you for life. One love. But let me get back on topic. So I am arguing that Ahsoka leaving was one of the reasons that the council started to fall. She had information, and they turned their back on her. And I don't blame her. They turned their back on her, and they hunted her. Her own master doubted her. The person who's supposed to have her back, Skywalker, the great Jedi, turned his back on his Padawan. And if you look, Obi-Wan did not do that till the very end of Revenge of the Sith. He still tried to save Anakin. But we see shades of Vader coming out when he has doubt and fear. And to me, her leaving is the beginning of his downfall. She kept him grounded, and he had no anchor. He was now free to pursue his passions, which would inevitably lead him to the path of the dark side. Ahsoka is such a pivotal character, because through her, you see this bond she has with Anakin, and she essentially was keeping him tethered. She was that little voice, that extra voice he had to say, no, we got to do it this way. You taught me this way, right? Keeping him in the teachings. And when he loses this anchor, and then Obi-Wan's gone doing his missions, this is where the Emperor creeps in and manipulates. And I like to see that maybe the Emperor had planned this all along, seeing that Ahsoka, his Padawan, was the only other thing close, keeping him from creeping in fully. And it's going to be great. Okay, so I covered the whole beginning, right? She turns, she walks away, we get a little retrend, so you know what's going on. She walks away, she says, Psh, I'm done. You guys done screwed me over. I have this information, but you know what? Maybe the Jedi need to fall. Maybe they need this wake-up call. And from where I'm gathering, she is in the lower city of Coruscant. And then they bring back my boy, my homeboy, my favorite clone trooper, Rex. Rex the man. Dual pistols, baby. Love Rex, right? And you've seen in Season 6 now. This is how he's merging both seasons. Season 6, Rex has watched his clone brethren fall. And to add insult to injury, Rex now sees the manipulation. He is not affected by that chip, because if you remember in the episodes in Season 6, he has had that chip disabled. So he is not under the mandate of Order 66. And he's slowly watching his beloved unit being changed by the new versions of these soldiers. So we get a glimpse of the new soldiers who are more stormtrooper-esque, right? So we're seeing the emergence of the Emperor slowly changing even the army forces and phasing out the clones. And these are great dynamics. I really want to see a tie-in between Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars. I would really like Filoni to take us up to that point to show everything where Ahsoka has gone through this journey, where Rex has gone through this journey, and how in Rebels they end up where they end up. So we see, yeah, I'm hyped, Beowulf. We see this convergent storylines, right? We're getting a glimpse of what Snips, what Ahsoka, what my favorite character has been doing, right? It looks like she is starting to see on the ground level what it means for the for this new galactic empire, right? Because they hinted towards it at the end of which one is it? Not Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, right? In between Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith is where they come up with the name, right? And she's starting to see the effects on the people because you see her helping out these like wayward looking people, right? So we're getting a perspective of maybe things that we aren't seeing because Clone Wars was shot through the Jedi heroes, but now we're seeing it from what Ahsoka sees. And remember, she's banished, or she banished herself from the council. So now we're getting a different perspective. And then they show her returning a little bit older with that look she had in Rebels towards the end of the trailer. With the 2 lightsabers. Yes! Super excited about that. No. I think that they've ran the main franchise into the ground, but I'm still on board with the Clone Wars because Dave Filoni is directly responsible for it. And Dave Filoni has stated very clearly he has sort of free range because of how successful his show has been. So I don't think he's even connecting it really to this new canon. He's doing his own thing. He's completing what he started with the Clone Wars. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of overhead. And from what I've seen from the trailers, he is merging the plot lines he started from Season 5 of the Clone Wars and Season 6. So I think he's really finishing out the arcs and bringing it full circle to Rebels. Because there was a lot of story still left in Clone Wars. I don't think that on his side, the canon is necessarily ruined. I think there's lots of stories. I don't think that the new canon is going to affect the old universe. I think that that's his sandbox, and Disney is not going to interfere with that because they know this man makes them money, and they know he's widely loved, and that his material is accepted. And with 9 so close, I don't think they're going to mess with him. I think that they want this to stay intact to keep us excited. And I'm excited. When I saw that trailer, right, my most hyped part, when I saw her look at the 2 lightsabers, and then they show that scene where she drops down and slams them in the ground and she does her stance, I was, oh my God, I was so hyped. I'd say out of everything in Celebration, the Season 7 trailer for Clone Wars got me the most excited. I don't care about Episode 9 coming out. I really have low interest. I don't care even about the game. But that trailer for Season 7 of Clone Wars is everything that I wanted in the trailer. And he's focusing on 2 storylines. He's focusing on Ahsoka, and he's focusing on Rex to give us the clone and to let us know what's going on with him. And I think what he's going to do is he is going to have it run until it, like, merges with Rebels. Because we still need to know how Rex got to where he was at the beginning of Rebels, right? When they found him in the little broke-down sand buggy and he had a family and all that. And we got to know where Ahsoka was. And I think this is going to be that connection that we've been hoping for. And if he does it right, it's going to make so much stuff in Rebels now make more sense and be connected. They'll actually be joined together finally. Because I loved Rebels, and I especially loved the arc with Ahsoka. but there was a lot of missing story in between. So, this trailer was fire. Another thing I wanted to point out was I love how in Rebels, if you watch the episodes, Rex and Ahsoka kind of like do a catching up thing. No, it's only the last season was season 6. So the reason why it was so long running was the hiatuses between seasons were so long, and then he almost didn't get greenlit for the 6th season because there was the little discrepancy that they had. So that's why the episodes for season 6 are shorter. And then it took a big hiatus, and he said he was going to finish it. I thought it would never come to pass, but Lucas is scrambling right now. Here's the deal. They want us to be as hyped as we can be. So some people, they're going to hit Clone Wars because a lot of people love that show, myself included. They're going to hit them with this Mandalorians, so you get hyped about the streaming service, and they're going to try to hit as many people as they can with the movie. And it's a plan to try to get us all back enthused in this universe. And on the Filoni side, I will be, because Dave Filoni does his own thing. He's never been messed with, even with the newer stuff, with what he does. He's got free range. He's stated he has free range. And it's animation. They don't want to mess with that part, because it's the only part that's still working for them. So I believe Dave Filoni has free reign, and he even said he would not do a season 7 unless he could do it the way he wanted to. The fact that it's greenlit and it has a trailer means Disney is scared, and they said, hey man, we don't care, just get the people excited. And I'm excited. I am so excited, because that trailer was what episode 9 trailer should have been like. I mean, it hit every beat I wanted it to. It focused on a character we know and love. They threw in Mace Windu in there, and Anakin and Obi-Wan, so there's going to be some stories with them. But I feel like they're going to mostly focus on Ahsoka and Rex and their journey and how they get to the place they're at in Rebels, I believe season 3 or 4, when she comes in for that one season. They're going to focus and highlight on their journey. And that end scene. Okay, so we got to talk about the end scene. The end scene, when you hear Darth Maul's voice and he says, I was hoping for Kenobi, and you see her come through and start fighting with Maul. People forget, in Clone Wars, Darth Maul and Ahsoka met a couple of times, and each time he bested her. So now he's going to be fighting a much older, a much wiser Ahsoka, and I want to see that battle. I know that she doesn't win because, you know, Obi-Wan, that's his loose thread, but it's got to be a heck of a battle. It must be an amazing battle, because just off the trailer, I was hyped. So, I mean, there is so much great stuff that I picked apart from this trailer. I mean, you've got the emotional stuff. We're picking right back up from where season 6 left us. It's going to be kind of weird because they kind of touched in the Order 66, but it looks like he's tied up that thread. I think this season is really going to start to lead into where Revenge of the Sith was. Like, you're going to start to see the downfall of the Jedi, and I don't know where he'll end it, because Revenge of the Sith shows the destruction of the Council, but he could play around with a lot of people starting to be fatigued and starting to really show the cracks, and the Council's spreading itself thin. It's going to be epic. I'm super excited. I mean, I know what people are going to be like, well, they've ran this IP into the ground or whatever else, but there's still things that can be saved, and this is one of them. This universe can still have a strong outing, it can still connect, and it could still give us some kind of satisfaction that we've wanted out of this franchise. and I think Dave Filoni can do it. I believe in him highly. He's never put out anything that has made me question his ability to write or character arcs or anything like that. And I see the passion in that trailer. It's like he's reinvigorated and he's ready to go. He's ready to tell this story. And that trailer was amazing. That was amazing trailer. That was everything I had hoped to see come out of Celebration. Like, everything to get me amped again. Mandalorians, I'm going to be on a special panel for that with Geek in Disguise and Prime Geek, but so I'm not going to get into that. That's all right. But, yeah, I mean, it's been, I think that this is going to be the good launch pad for the things that were not tied up in the extended universe. And I hate using EU because of those jerks that are over there on the other channel. But I think this is going to be the stuff that connects the Clone Wars era with the new era, with the Rebels era. And Rebels, to me, is its own separate show. I don't even tie it in with the new canon. I still consider that part of the old universe, part of New Hope and all that. And it's going to be nice to see a nice, clean, connective, well-done, well-written story going right into the Rebels universe. I think if they play it right, it's going to tie up a lot of loose ends that we still had in Rebels. It's going to show things that we were all curious about. And I'm super excited. Ahsoka's my favorite character, and it looks like they're going to be giving her a lot of love this season. It looks like a very heavy focus on her character and more growth. So, but yes, anyways, this has just been my hype reaction to the trailer for Clone Wars Season 7. And I want you guys to shoot me some comments and let me know what you think. Have you seen the trailer? And if you have, are you excited? Because I am hyped. What parts do you like of this trailer? What things really stand out for you? And what really gets you excited about where Dave Filoni is going to go with this? And do we hope Dave continues to write new stuff? I think, honestly, he should keep going. So, I mean, this was my discussion for you guys. This was my trailer reaction because I feel like not a lot of people touched on Clone Wars. I've seen a lot of things about Episode 9, and that's going to be the talk around the water cooler. But I'd rather focus on this because I think that this here is more fluid, more connecting. I think that this here should be highlighted. Dave Filoni has a passion and a love for this universe, and everything he's done, I've been thrilled with because there's a clear respect for the universe and the material. And he really does put a lot of heart into these characters. I mean, he quite literally took one character I couldn't stand, which has now become my most beloved character, Ahsoka, and has universally made her loved. And that's a testament to the man's writing, to show so much character growth, and to be able to do it in a fashion where he splits up the storytelling between the clone troopers, the main Jedi, and Ahsoka, and her relationship with Anakin. It's a beautiful, beautiful show in the way that it does things so fluidly, and I just adore it. And I'm so excited that it's going to get an opportunity to expand, so. Oh, I originally disliked her because it was in the movie where she was first introduced, and I found her as kind of a clingy, whiny kind of character. I really thought that, like, maybe she was thrown in there to be more forced, and Dave Filoni once again surprised me, by fleshing her out. And I remember seeing that movie and loving the animated movie that was first released, the CGI one. And I remember loving every aspect but her character. And then I watched Clone Wars, and I was like, all right, I'll give it another shot. And then I literally watched her grow. And that's when I started falling in love with her. It was literally like watching a child, because she was quite young in the movie, till now. You see her grow as a person, almost like a living, breathing person, like a child who starts off immature. You kind of are annoyed with them. They say stupid things, and then you see her growing through this journey, becoming wiser, almost eclipsing her wisdom beyond Anakin's. When she leaves the council at that last scene, she has more wisdom in my mind than anyone else on that council. She can finally clearly see what is going on in the order, and she steps away from it. She steps away from it, and now she steps away from it to help the people. And that to me is so beautiful. That is character growth. That is a person changing and developing before our eyes. That's why I love her character and adore it now, because I've literally watched her grow up, and I've watched her growing pains, and I've seen her become like a mature Jedi and woman, and have this sense of power that she's developed, and a respect for herself, and maybe even more of a respect for what the Force is. She has such a knowledge beyond her years, which is why when she faces Vader in Rebels, it's so epic. Because it's not just a battle of their sabers, but it's a battle of their ideals, a philosophical battle. Because at that point, Anakin is completely Lord Vader, and she is completely a master within her own right. And she is what the Jedi should have been and what the old ideals are. And he is about destroying that. And it's such a beautiful and elegant contrast. And, when you go back through and you watch from where she started, you would never think that that character would become the character that goes toe-to-toe with Vader and actually comes pretty close to beating him. That is arguably the best saber scene in Rebels. Her and Vader / Anakin finally fighting it out, her essentially really besting her master, but because she had to save Israel, she loses that fight, but it is for the sake of them escaping. But she could have easily won that fight. She almost beat Vader as full-blown Sith Lord Vader. And the gravity of that is astonishing, because not very many people could beat him, especially in this era. So the fact that she stood toe-to-toe with her former master and essentially bested him in every sense of the word, ideally and force-wise and even saber-wise, she bested her mentor. And it's so beautiful. It's such a great arc of that character. It's such a great, it's just so great storytelling in showing how much growth that she's had. And I'm really excited to see Filoni show us more of that growth from where she was when she exiled herself. It's going to be good to see what formed the woman that she was when she faced Lord Vader. I'm really intrigued. And just by watching these clips, there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens in between. And then they show her coming back and meeting up with Rex. So there's got to be some kind of dynamic that draws her back. And more interestingly, where was she when Order 66 went down? That's the biggest question I have. Like, how did she escape and fly under the radar so long from the man she was so connected with in this show? And I'm super excited because I don't think Filoni's going to mess it up or give us a bad reason. The man is good at his craft. He's an excellent storyteller. He knows these characters inside and out. I mean, this character is his creation, and you know he's just amazing. So that's my long-winded explanation. I think he's going to do a bang-up job, and I think it's going to add more context to the two sagas that he has worked on. Both of them are masterpieces in their own way, and I can't wait to see how he finally brings it all together. I think Clone Wars is going to have a short run because it's getting pretty close to Revenge of the Sith. So I think maybe we'll get a season 7 if it goes really well, possibly an 8. But I don't think he's going to go longer than that. I think he just wants to finish the story. Thank you for coming on to my stream. And Bruce, thank you. Thank you for being on here. Was just talking about Ahsoka and how excited I am for Clone Wars Season 7. My highlight today is just on Clone Wars, and that is the most hyped thing I am about Celebration, so. Oh, you did? Well, thank you. Was that on the karaoke stream that I was on? So, yeah, I think that was where it was. Yeah, well, thank you. Ah, yeah. Okay, now I remember. Yeah, we had so much stuff going on there, man. It was great. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about. So I was talking about the connection between Clone Wars. Yeah, yeah, that's very true, man. Thankfully, I was just drinking water till I got home. Then it just switched up. But yeah, I was talking about the pre Disney stuff with the Clone Wars. That was Disney was not really much involved in that. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's more of my style. I like to go more Linkin Park, that kind of rock. So um, I really had a fun time. I look forward to hopefully jumping back in with you guys again, doing some more stuff like that. It was really fun. And anyone who comes on, please sub to everyone in here. Sub to Bruce. He's an awesome cat. Got to meet him doing karaoke. I'm really glad that you're actually jumping onto my live stream. This is what I do. I rant, I do movie reviews, and I talk about different things. I used to talk a lot of Star Wars, not so much. You're welcome, man. Not so much these days, but this trailer, I was saying, got me excited. It was very reminiscent of old Star Wars. It starts out where in Clone Wars, she walked away from the Jedi Council and Anakin Skywalker, and they highlight that. And then they show clips of her in Lower Kashyyyk and what she was doing. They show the clone troopers, and Rex and his people have died, the main characters. They show his transition, and then they show her getting the double lightsabers, and I was super excited. 2 blue lightsabers. And it ends with her fighting Darth Maul. And I was just so hyped because you hear that voice. And they're standing in a room. She's clashing with Maul with her 2 lightsabers. And he says, "I was hoping for Kenobi." And I was just like, ah, shoot. And I was talking about how, to me, her character was an anchor to Anakin. And after she left the council, she could have been also the one who helped destroy the Jedi Council, because she knew about Order 66, and she didn't tell them. And she also knew and saw where the council was going and chose to walk away. So there's a scene in Rebels where she talks about her greatest guilt, and I think this is going to show us what it is, because she's held this sort of responsibility to Anakin becoming Darth Vader and to the council itself falling. She had vital information about what the Emperor was doing. She had the information in her hand, and she tosses it and walks out of the council. And she says, "I'm done." And there's a great moment where she's talking to herself because she's narrating bits of this episode. And if you haven't seen it, it's in season 5 of the Clone Wars, and it's called The Trial of Ahsoka. It's like a 3-part episode, and in this, they're hunting her down, the Jedi Council and Anakin Skywalker, and everyone turns on her. And finally, she gets her name cleared, and they ask her, "Do you have any info who did this?" And she knows, and she chooses to walk away and leave them all hanging. And so now it could be argued that she played a part in the downfall of the Jedi herself, because she could have told them. She figured it out, and Palpatine had manipulated information to make her look like a traitor. And it was only towards the end of the episode when they were about to, she was put on trial for treason, so it wasn't going to be good. And at the last minute, Anakin finds the evidence to clear her name. And then, it's beautiful how Dave Filoni does it, because he gives the information to this character that he establishes, and you're so close. You're like, they're going to finally uncover this plot, and she chooses to sit on it at the ending, and she remembers in her mind. She has kind of a vision, and she sees older Jedis or whatever, and they say that the Force has gone astray, and that that nature basically has to rebalance. So essentially, she sees this as the Jedi themselves have gone astray. Why Palpatine is manipulating them is because they have lost their way themselves. They've become paranoid, right, by hunting her down. She sees the Jedi's paranoia for the first time. They hunt one of their own order instead of getting evidence, and her own master even turns on her. And it's a sign of how sick the Jedi are. The Council within itself has a sickness, and the Emperor has just been exploiting it. And it's so brilliant in the way that that scene is delivered at the ending, because she could have saved them and she doesn't. So it really shows that a lot of factors came into the downfall of the Jedi. It was themselves, it was the Sith, it was the war. It was as if the Council was always meant to fall. I mean, because that was the last moment. That was the thing that could have saved the Jedi Council, is the information that Ahsoka has. And she herself chooses to let things fall where they will. And I want to see how season 7, she's kind of like from my gathering, she's kind of like freelance. I want to see how they play that up. Like, does she come back? Does she distance herself at the end of that season? She says, "I don't want anything to do with the Jedi anymore. I will find my own way." And it's going to be interesting because she does meet up with Rex again. And I'm wondering, and she has the look she has in Rebels. So I'm wondering if she will have a couple of times where she helps him out. But the bigger question is, too, when Order 66 went down, where was she? Because she was obviously spared from that. Only a few Jedi survived. And Vader had been hunting them down, the ones that were still alive, but she stayed under the radar. She literally masked herself for years, just like Yoda. And they had not been able to find her until she revealed herself with Ezra Bridger in Rebels, because she had to help them take down Vader. And to me, that was the greatest scene in Rebels, when she fought Lord Vader. Like, she almost beat Lord Vader. That's how powerful this character is. That was true character building. She, philosophically, Force-wise, and lightsaber-wise, was just years ahead of Vader when you watch that battle. Yes, yes, Ahsoka is almost Luke Skywalker level, because when you think about it, she was trained by Anakin. She was molded out of Anakin's own style, and then she slowly morphed it into something of her own. And that's the beautiful thing about this season. Yes, the philosophical level was shown in the end of season 5 going into season 6, or the middle half of season 6. They show how much more of growth that she had as a Jedi. So when you get to the battle in Rebels, where she fights Darth Vader, and they're having a back and forth, and she's literally beating him down with her words and philosophically explaining how he's wrong. And he's pausing for a second to think about it, because this was his Padawan. This was the person he trained, schooling him. And like, even that lightsaber battle, she's so elegant and graceful in her fighting style, and so fluid, and she knows from fighting with Lord Vader how he fights. Oh, yeah, yeah, without a doubt. I believe without a doubt, if she had had more time, or even been able to train with some more great Jedi Masters, because remember, her training was also, she, in Clone Wars, had a lot of different run-ins with different Jedis, and she took different things from each Jedi. I mean, she is a product of her growth and her development, and watching her through the series was a joy for me, because it was never, that was the one character that wasn't this forced diversity push. She organically grew in the story, and you brought it, because you literally see her from a kid all the way up to a woman, to a full-grown woman Jedi, who has been beaten and weathered, watched all of her friends die, has saw her master fall so far from grace. And it's great when she interacts with Ezra. There's a beautiful scene when they're on the ship, the Ghost, and they're talking, and Ezra says to her, "Is this Vader guy as bad as everyone says?" And she looks at him and she goes, "No, he's worse." And she gets into the story, and you could see almost tears, and then she turns and walks away from that guilt, like she could have done something. And she could have. That's the crazy part about the whole thing. And I don't like directly blaming her, but when she walks away with that information, she makes a choice to watch the Order essentially crumble, because she could have passed it along. Heck, she could have gave it to Yoda. Yoda's the most knowledgeable one there. He could have sussed something out. But she saw, like you said, philosophically, she saw what the Jedi were becoming. And she chose to let that die out, because both sides were starting to think alike. And even the clear-minded people were starting to be outweighed. The Jedi were letting the Sith inadvertently influence their own practices. They were losing the balance. And I think in her mind, destroying everything would reset it. She just never realized the ramifications and how it would affect her master and what he would do, his part he would play. No one really knew that part. And it was so beautiful to see it. And then to see her come back as this older, wiser self, you know. And she's still pretty young in Rebels, too. She's got to be in, because it shows her growing up. I'd have to say she'd be in her, like, 20s somewhere, getting in her 30s, when she has that battle with Vader. So it's really beautiful character development, and one of the reasons why I love the character so much. And it really does good context to the old and the new. And I like Dave Filoni because he's connected the old material with the new material to make it make sense, unlike the new Star Wars canon. And I want to see him connect Rebels. I want to see him connect all of the old material. And at least we have the back end of the universe that makes sense. And God help us with the front end. There's nothing I'm looking forward to there. Just nothing. Just big nothing. Because episode 9 is going to be meh at best. And all I have is the old stuff. So it's good to see Dave Filoni respecting the old material and bringing this story finally full circle. Bringing the first half of this epic saga to a close and making a good bookend that fans can be excited about, finally, and connecting all of the old material. I'm really excited, and they need to give this man a movie. They need to give Filoni a movie. They need to just say, even if it's self-contained, they need to give him a movie, because I think he'd do an amazing job. He's a great storyteller. He trained under Lucas. He knows the universe. He built his own character within the universe and made it work. Ahsoka was a completely original idea by Filoni. It's his character. He made his character, and not only made it, but made it work. Made it work and didn't force it on us. He slowly and organically grew her story while telling a bigger, larger story of this universe. Bruce, a lot of us feel this way, you know. They don't know what they're doing. I've never seen someone destroy an IP so spectacularly than what Disney has done. It's really spectacular. It is spectacular to see someone screw everything up so colossally, and it's the same thing that's happened in the MCU. I'm a big MCU guy, and I'm watching the self-destruction of the MCU starting with Captain Marvel. I've stated many times, after Endgame and Far From Home, I'm done. You know, I am done with it. Yes, I did realize that, and as a matter of fact, there was a game that the game Shadow of the Empire was based. Actually, I gotta look that up. I want to say that the book was before it, but maybe the book was created after the game. But yeah, Shadows of the Empire was an original story arc that introduced those characters. I've always wanted to have them do a movie. Not now, but back in the day, I wanted a Shadows of the Empire movie. I thought that would have been a really great little side story. But Disney doesn't give us that. Yeah, thank you, Bruce, for confirming that. I thought that the book was first. Yeah, I always figured that that book was first because I could have sworn I read it first before they turned it into a game. And I remember the game being as good as the book, man. That game was fire. I loved that game. Yes, yes, they did. They did make a Shadows of the Empire soundtrack. I'm almost 100% certain on that because I was all about that game when it first came out and that part of the universe. As far as it goes, yeah, Ant-Man and Wasp was alright. I did like Thor Ragnarok. Where it really went down for me was Captain Marvel, or Captain Feminist, or Captain SJW, whatever you want to call Woodface Larson. If you watch my videos, I have a strong disdain for that woman and everything that she stands for. And she is a direct representation of the agenda narrative that has already destroyed Star Wars and now is going to destroy the MCU. It is going to murder the MCU. Right now, they are on the Endgame hype. And I'll go and see the movie because Infinity War was fire. But I'll see Endgame to finish that out. And I like Spider-Man, and Far From Home looks decent. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I'll go and see that. But I'm done because they said Captain Marvel is getting 5 movies. I can't do it. I'm done. 5 movies. We get to look at Brie Larson's expressionless face for 5 more movies. Who wants to be in for that one? I mean, Jesus, it astonishes me. Yeah, I work at the theater, I can tell you the firsthand those numbers aren't fake. It's ridiculous. It is ignorant. I have literally talked to people who got pre-ticket. It is not just hype. Coming from the theater side, those are actual numbers for not just our theater, but 3 other theaters too. I talk with other people. And the people physically have their tickets. I mean, it's not hype. It could really break 1 billion. That opening weekend's going to be big. I know we're already literally sold out of theaters. Real people that I talk to, even coworkers who brought their tickets ahead of time. This thing's going to be massive, and it's not hyped up. It could really break. It could really break Avatar numbers. This thing's going to be a money-making machine. I do feel you on the agenda. When they said Captain Marvel, I was not on board, but I got to point out that the Russo brothers did the 3 greatest movies within the Marvel franchise. They did Infinity War, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. And those were arguably the 3 greatest movies in the MCU franchise. So the Russo brothers, they aren't about putting the politics in their movies. And they have stated clearly that it is not going to be the Captain Marvel show. They are going to focus on the legacy characters. That's a direct quote, and they haven't given me a reason to doubt them. I really think they just want to make a good movie. They do have free reign with their movies, so... Yeah, there was a lot of things floating around about that. Unfortunately, that thing with Captain Marvel is not fake. I can say from being in the movie theaters, people are still buying tickets for Captain Marvel. It really upsets me because I still have to stare at the poster. But what it is that Captain Marvel was released after one of the most successful movies made in Infinity War. And that hype, I literally sold a ticket tonight to someone who said, I'm going to see Captain Marvel because it connects to Endgame. So no one knew that it doesn't. It doesn't. You could literally not see that movie and still watch Endgame and not miss anything. But they marketed it to where they made people think it connects to Endgame. And that was where it was brilliant marketing. Kevin Feige is smart in what he does. And he knew that this movie fails on its own. It does not succeed. So that's just a clever marketing that boosted those numbers. I mean, could Disney buy some of the tickets? Yeah, they could buy out seats or whatever. Companies buy seats and reserve them as a comp from Disney. And they'll reserve seats, and maybe people go, maybe they don't, but those are still legitimately bought tickets. So, I mean, I'm sure there was maneuvering and some, and you got to remember too, this was the first movie in the MCU where they released it everywhere simultaneously. So the box office, domestically and foreignly, came in together exactly at the same time, which pads out the numbers. The thing that's kind of astonishing is it still kept its numbers up. I'm still selling tickets, and there's 4 or 5 new movies, and people are still going to see Captain Marvel. Shazam knocked it down, but that doesn't have much of a run once Endgame comes out, so they're trying to get as much money for that movie as they can. But that didn't even release as big as Captain Marvel did, so... I mean, the numbers, and I'm sure some of them, they put inflation in there and stuff like that, but the numbers are pretty on the ball. I mean, just from me being in the theater, I see it firsthand. I mean, people brought into it. We got tricked. And, it's going to be the same thing. It's like when they released Star Wars. I liked Force Awakens, and everyone got duped. Once Last Jedi came out, it was the biggest con ever because we all got swindled into thinking it was going to be something great, and they subverted our expectations. And, that's what's happening in the MCU right now. And, I'm bowing out. I'm going to DC. I don't care if they make a bad movie here and there. They're making stuff I actually want to watch, so I'm jumping ship. I'm done. I'm done with Disney. Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I don't know. I I'm getting to a point where I'm getting tired of Disney as a company. Uh, it's a lot of it's a clear monopoly. No one's calling it out, and they're getting big. And pretty soon, there's going to be no competition except for with themselves. They literally are releasing 5 movies that are all Disney movies together that will essentially be competing with themselves. It baffles my mind. I don't understand. I mean, monopolies back in the day would have been broken up, but now, it's Disney. It's fine. Take over everything, corner the market on entertainment. Sadly, the only competitors that they have are streaming services now. Yeah, I mean, The Force Awakens did have its issues, but yeah, I agree. The live actions are hit and miss. I can't think of one I was really over the moon for. Dumbo was good, but it was made by Tim Burton, and I love Tim Burton. So he did a pretty good job with that. Lion King, I don't know. I mean, I'm just not. Disney is just retrending, is all they're doing. They're retreading their same stuff, and they're switching up the format, and they're going to saturate the market with everything and play off our nostalgia. I think Mary did it the best when she was talking about how Disney is playing off of the nostalgia of its fans and killing our greatest childhood movies with all of these remakes. It's ridiculous. And, no one can compete with original ideas because they're cornering the market. So you have a situation where original stuff comes out and it's getting swept under the rug because you got the latest Disney blockbuster coming out, chewing up the market. I mean, there was a lot of good films that went under the radar for these crap films that have come out. I mean, I watched a movie called Cold Pursuit with Liam Neeson, which was amazing. And, it got swept under with the whole Captain Marvel craze. It frustrates me. It really does. And I had a discussion on Let's Talk About This with entertainment. This is why fresh ideas are dying on the vines, and they don't want fresh ideas in Hollywood. They want this stuff that they think we want, and they want to push it out, and they want it to be narratives and agenda, and just feed the message and feed the machine and just keep it going, and it's ridiculous. And it's why I have so many videos. I mean, Brie Larson alone gives me endless material to rant on. So, I mean, that's kind of where I am at. Star Wars, though, is what I want to stay excited about, and I'm glad that at least Dave Filoni is coming and doing something good. I've always liked Dave Filoni's work. He studied under George Lucas. He's got that sense, so yeah. Well, Bruce, there's people out there. There's people out there who are creating original stuff, but they're being pushed down. Or if something original that's a contender comes out, it's being snubbed by the media shills because they don't want that out. I mean, look at Alita. I mean, is Alita the greatest thing since sliced bread as everyone hypes it up? That was mostly because people hate Captain Marvel. But it was very good. It was a very good movie, and I liked it. I read the animes. I understood it, and it was very well done. But it was snubbed because the Disney hype machine and the media shills wanted it to be all about Captain Marvel. I literally read a review on Alita where they said they didn't get it. These are educated people. You don't get it, but you can tell me every facet of why Captain Marvel, that crap movie, works, and you can feed garbage, and they knew it wasn't that good. Oh yeah, I agree. Alita was the perfect example of how you do a good, strong female character. It was the anti-Captain Marvel in the sense that it showed character development. Oh, I watched it twice too. I just got done with the box office numbers. It has broke even and now has started to make profit. So that's worth celebrating. Alita has actually made a profit, and James Cameron owns those rights. So James Cameron has the ball in his court. I think if he sees more with the DVD sales and stuff, I think we're gonna get that sequel. I honestly do. I feel like we will get that sequel because James Cameron, that was a passion piece for his. Let's just hope that the Avatar thing gets stalled out, because if not, he's gonna be working on that, and God, I don't want another one of those. Yeah. I just found out. I go on to a guy. His name is SC. He does great stuff, and I watched his box office, and he just announced that Alita did not only break even, but yeah. What's up, Geek? So Geek. If you didn't know, Alita actually did finally break even and is starting to make a bit of a profit. So we may get our dream of actually seeing a sequel to Alita, which I would love to see, and I'm super stoked about it. I'm really excited. I personally love Alita, not for the reasons that everyone else has, where they wanted to beat Captain Marvel, but more for the reasons of it was a good film to me, and I loved everything it was about. So I read the anime, or I mean the manga, so it was great to see that finally get its day. But yeah, I got a little bit distracted. This was just my stream as an update to the Clone Wars Season 7 and my hype around that. Bruce, my man, I hear you on how you don't like the other stuff, but Dave Filoni is a real consummate Lucas guy. I think he's going to do really well with this, and I really want him to get his own movie. He needs a movie. He needs to make a real Star Wars movie, because Episode 9 is not it. Episode 9 is not... Oh, Jesus. I don't even know what to say about that. God. The more I read into it, and there's a leaked script out there about it. I was watching EBS, and they're doing the whole Rey and Kylo thing, and she's gonna have a child. Which, has anyone called out how ridiculous it is that she has a kid? Like, how? It's not even explained. Like, who was the person she had a child with if this is gonna be an arc? It's like such bad writing in this whole movie trilogy. It's so disjointed. I think that's the word I use a lot. It's disjointed. The whole narrative is disjointed and messed up. And I don't exactly all blame JJ, but JJ does have a lot of blame in this. I mean, him stepping out. How do you step out of your own trilogy you start is beyond me. And why in the world would you task Rian Johnson with that? You know, why wouldn't you put into place your own person to do your own thing? I mean, if you're going to step away. It's just, it's so terrible. It's so horrid. I mean, the MCU is bad for me, but Star Wars fans, man, you guys got it worse. It's terrible. It really is, and you know, that's why I wanted to stream about good news. I think Clone Wars Season 7 is the best news to come out of Celebration. I'll just say it. I don't care who disagrees with me. I mean, Clone Wars, to me, has always been constantly good when I've watched it, even when there were disagreements within episodes 1, 2, and 3, which I liked them all, except for 2, Sand Dune Love. Ugh. But yeah, there's no but that's the thing. There's no franchise. Well, I do have one franchise that's never let me down. Y'all have heard me talk about it. John Wick. John Wick. Oh God, I love that franchise. John Wick is the man. Excited about Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of, Bruce, I don't blame you for that opinion, man. A lot of people just aren't, they just don't care. It's sad, too. That's like our childhoods. That we've literally grown up with this, and to see it so completely and totally destroyed astonishes me. I never in my lifetime wanted to witness that. Never. Or the MCU. I never, but identity politics has come through and just wrecked everything. I mean, they're in everything. They're in Star Wars. They're in video games. I mean, these people are systematically destroying things that we love, which is why I started doing YouTube, was when the rise of Brie Larson, or my least favorite person on the planet, literally on the planet. Hey, Tremaine. Good to see you in the chat. Hey, man, great video. I know I gave you a comment, but, yo, good stuff there, man. Loved your take on the whole Endgame thing. We were talking about franchises dying. So yeah, I hear you, but I think a lot of that is self-promotion. Geeks and Gamers were more hyped than the actual celebration. Oh yeah, no problem, man. You always jump in randomly on these long, random streams I do, so I appreciate you being on. It's really great. I tell people, so for all three people here in the chat, if you don't know my story, I started this channel because I wanted to find like-minded individuals about these topics, and it's great to hear people who mirror what I feel about the things that we love. Because why do we have YouTube channels, some of us? It's because we're so frustrated with what's happened, and yeah, I was geek in disguise, tired at 1, man. I'm shocked. You're a night owl. I'm chilling at the dojo because this Wi-Fi is the best, and when I shoot streams at my house, they yell. Yeah, you're a little bit ahead of me. Yeah, I know, we both had a late night. How I'm still up is astonishing. I don't even know, man. But it's been crazy. Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. 5 people, wow. I'm just doing the shooting the debris late stream. Prime, I was talking about my hypeness for the new Clone Wars trailer that dropped. The best thing in my mind to come out of Celebration. And how I am happy with the growth of my favorite character, Ahsoka. And then Bruce brought up some good points, and we were talking about the state of Disney, and he mirrored what a lot of people are feeling, which is that no one really cares. You know, there's just people who are just done with Star Wars, and I don't fault him for the opinion. I mean, you know, we can get, and like Bruce said, you can get these glimmers of hope, but all they are a grasp for something that's dying on the vines, you know? It is it's a grasp for that. Stig, why you gotta say that, man? Come on. Why you gotta bring up Brie and get my blood pressure up again? I just got in a zen place. I never liked Rey except for in Force Awakens, and even then I was met on her. Rey was a terribly architecture-wise, she was not very well constructed. Even from where JJ had her, I don't. Brie for Ahsoka. Oh my God, I would hang myself. I would literally hang myself if I heard that Brie Larson touches Star Wars. But why not? Brie's in everything. Brie's in everything. Thank you for subscribing to everyone, Bruce. Oh my God, I would love to actually see Brie Larson play a no-name Jedi and fight Ahsoka and be brutally murdered in the battle. That would make I think that would be Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, every other all in one. It would really make my whole entire year. I would be grateful. I would just love life. In case you guys don't know, being that I have 5 people in here, I'm going to tell you the little news that I put out a video on. Brie did an interview, and in the interview, she snubbed people for Endgame, and watching the interactions between her and Chris Hemsworth are just hilarious. I've never seen someone amongst the cast of liberals, because most of them are liberal-leaning and all of that, and their politics are really out there. They don't even like her. I mean, oh my God. She's such a horrible person. I can't do it. Oh yeah, I saw that. That was great. I saw that. That is hilarious because Kristen Heigl is another crazy person. Just like, wow, see how far she fell. But the difference is Brie still keeps herself relevant. I still have to look at that wooden face constantly every day because she's just so, I mean, crazy. She is really a case for crazy. Like, she intensifies the ideals, and she really highlights the SJWs. The unicorn store showed what SJWs think about. Rainbows and unicorns is the world they live in. It's crazy. It is crazy to see how nuts this movement is. Stig, she might be. I like the first one. Brie is beyond narcissistic, though. I mean, Brie is, to me, just, I don't know. She's on narcissism that surpasses narcissism. If there's a level of pompous, arrogant, she has eclipsed it. I've never seen anyone who has made me this upset in my life. 34 years, I've never seen anyone who ticks me off more than Brie Larson. Honestly, and I've met some jerks in my day. Some people I've been beat up and bullied by that I would give a pass over Brie Larson. That's how much this girl annoys me. I've never seen anyone who could upset me more than her. It's a gift. It's a gift. I mean, I can't pick who's worse, Ryan Johnson or her, because they're on a level that transcends normal thinking. If you are a normal thinker, you cannot get on that level unless you go into the training of what these SJWs get. I mean, it's just a level of madness, and that's what it is. It's madness that I've never seen before. The fact that she came out in an article and said how, okay, so she comes out and says that her biggest lot in life, her biggest trial and tribulation is she can't walk through Central Park anymore without being recognized. What? Have you even been in New York? Have you even been in New York City? I grew up in New York, okay? Central Park was not that great of a spot to walk through anyways. At midnight, you would be mugged or see things you don't want to see. Really? Of all the places to pick? Really? You couldn't say, like, Staten Island or, somewhere nice? No? Central Park? Any New Yorker knows how absurd that sounds. Really? Normal people don't want to walk through Central Park. I mean, granted, it's been cleaned up quite a bit, but still, I wouldn't walk it at midnight. I mean, oh my God. I mean, just the sheer stupidity. I mean, it's comical / maddening to hear her speak. It's just a nonstop, everyday barrage and reminding me of how far entertainment has fallen. I mean, this was always a thing, but she is the emperor of entertainment. She is leading it into the dark side. She is destroying the force. Tremaine, he won't. He's on board. Foggy's on board with the madness. It astonishes me. I agree, Bruce. Oh my God, it's just I've never seen someone in my life who gives the worst press tours. I would like to historically go back, but I can honestly say I've never seen someone run the worst press tours in my life, and I've seen some pretty bad ones. Jesus. This gets me flustered. Brie Larson just gets me flustered. She is the worst human being I've ever seen in 34 years of my life. 34 years. All the people I've met, she is by far the worst person I have ever seen in my life. Yeah, and I don't know why they went with Brie Larson instead of I don't know why they went with Brie Larson instead of Emily Blunt. Yeah, oh my goodness. Why, Prime? Why? That's a good question. I don't know who Ahsoka would play, or who would play Ahsoka. I would want it to be someone really good, but the young talent out there, I don't know who could fill those shoes. Oh, yeah, Katie. She's a really good actress. She's done some pretty solid work. Emily Blunt was my first pick. Yeah, Emily Blunt was considered for the role of Captain Marvel. She was one of the top three. It was Brie Larson, Emily Blunt, and I forgot the third one, but it was, Charlize Theron. Those were the picks. Okay, and you can look this up. Those were the picks, and they chose Brie Larson over Charlize Theron or Emily Blunt. Just think about that one. Just, think about how crazy that is. You have some good choices. Emily Blunt, stand up. I love her. I love how she carries herself. I love how she talks, but you choose Brie Larson. Emily Blunt would have made me buy Carol Danvers. I would have brought it. Emily Blunt would have made me buy that, but no, we got Brie Larson. Very true, Bruce. Very true, indeed. But no, who do we get stuck with? Flat bottom, emotionless plank of wood, Brie Larson. The face of wood. Literally, if you stared at a tree and carved in emotions, that would be Brie Larson. Oh, I will look that up. Right now, my phone is currently dead, and if I try to switch in between this, it kills the stream because I haven't figured out the ways of the Force yet. But I will look that up later, maybe do something on that because it just it mystifies me. I don't understand. Marvel has been so stellar up to this point with their casting choices. I just don't understand if someone took a siesta that day or if the good casting guy was sick. I don't understand what happened with that. I mean, you had two stellar options. I would have accepted either of those choices. And you pick Brie Larson because she's fresh off of the only movie she's ever done that's been of relevance. I mean, God, I don't understand it. I don't understand Hollywood in general. I mean, it's all a crazy bunch of real, extremely left-thinking, leaning people behind these decisions. And I don't like to bring up politics on my channel, but really that's when it affects entertainment. And the views have become the centerpiece of choosing these casts for these movies. It's like, who knows who? It's what happened in Han Solo. Exactly what happened in Han Solo. It's just like, who is this guy who takes center stage to be Han? It doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. I really don't. It really highlights the problems in general. And it's why entertainment is in the state that it's in. I was watching Nerdette's Newsstand. Yeah, my channel, if you haven't seen, I have the Dojang in the back. I have some families who subscribe to it, and so I don't like to get really inflammatory with the things that I put on my channel because I want my students to be able to watch my videos. So I don't swear. I try to keep it as clean as possible because I don't want one of my kids clicking on it and, getting one of the parents upset. But at the same point, a lot of the parents mirror how I feel about the current state. So, I mean, Tremaine, that could have happened. I could see that happening. Like, Iger's another rant for another day that, and he's talking about stepping away for a presidential run. Oh my God. Just, jeez. I don't know. I don't know. Like, there's just been so much nonsense. One thing after another. It's what keeps me going on my channel is I've got so much to rant about because the way things are going. And that's why I created this channel. That's why I created my segments of Let's Talk, is because people don't want to talk about these things. They're scared. They're scared to put out their ideas, and they're scared to say something about it, but they feel the same way that we do. But they'll still shell out their money. And it's a paradox, and it's an oxymoron. You know, people are paying for inferior products, and I don't understand it. It used to be in the day, if you don't like something and you didn't pay for it, they didn't make it. But because the people are being tricked and manipulated, they are feeding into this nonsense and making it grow and perpetuate. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of that look that people get from walking out of this inferior product that Hollywood puts out and shoves in our face and thinks that it's okay, you know, because it's not. It's not. This is more than just a fan base. This is also our kids, and this is also people's hard-earned cash, your hard-earned money, your $10.50 or $11 or whatever the ticket price. They are messing with your wallet, and they are trying to push a narrative in these products that we know and love. And why? Because people don't want to open their eyes and see the truth and say, no, I will not stand for this. Okay? The normal moviegoer has a 9 to 5. They have to put food on the table. They got bills to pay. They got families, and they just want to escape. And Hollywood is using that and manipulating it. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Tremaine. Captain Marvel has nothing. Not a thing. You could skip the movie. And yet today I sold a ticket to someone who thought that it led into Endgame. And the look on their face when I told them that it didn't said everything that I need to know about why I do my channel. It's because even if I reach 140 something or whatever my number is, then I am reaching people who may not know or who may not understand how they are being swindled into thinking that a product is good when it is not. They are being tricked and hoodwinked and bamboozled into thinking that there is relevance when there is not. And it is sickening. It makes me sick to my core. And these critics are the worst. These critics make me angrier than anything else because you get paid, you go to school, it's your vocation, and you lie. You lie to the people, and you lie to everyone. It's like a doctor's oath, I say, okay? Maybe not on the level of saving a life, but you took an oath to tell the truth about a product, and you lie. And why? For money and greed. So you can get your press pass, and you can rub shoulders with the bigwigs, and you can feel important about your station, but you should feel important because you're talking to people. The people make my channel. The people make these products. And the people have to say something in order for it to change. And then we need more voices of normal, clear-minded people saying, no, we've had enough. Stop pushing your narratives and your agendas. And media shills need to start standing up and stop caring about their press passes and do their damn job and tell the truth. And that's why I do my channel. Because someone needs to say the truth. You know, these big guys who got these big platforms lie. And they admit they lie. They play softball. No, you don't. That's code for I lie so that I can get into the big press release and I can have the scoop before anyone. And why? You sold your soul. You sold your soul for money, and you gave up your ethics so that you can be just as corrupted as the people pushing out this crap. And it really makes me upset. And that's why I do my channel. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I hate when people give up what they stand for just so that they can be one of the crowd, so they can be in the limelight. You don't have to sell and compromise yourself to be in the spotlight, to get recognized. You just have to work hard and have something important to say that people care about. That's why I do this. And obviously, people care enough to listen to me, which is why I appreciate the people I have. And that's what the media has lost. NBC, MSNBC, all of these other C's, they've given up their integrity just to push out lies and agenda and nonsense all the time. Yes, Tremaine. Sorry I got off on a side ramp there, but yes, Captain Marvel should have been better. And the media should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed because in their own reviews, they gave it mediocre scores, but they pushed the agenda that it was a great movie, and they lied. They lied to people. They lied and tricked and deceived them. And they conditioned people so well that they actually came out and said it was good. What? What was good? What was good about that movie? Name one thing that made sense, that made it connect, that made it relevant to anything that was going on. What was it? Because I can't see it. I can't see it. You know, I gave it a 3 out of 10 just for all the loose threads. Structure-wise, that movie was flawed. Structurally, as a story, on the fundamental basis of building characters, it was flawed. They screwed up a whole comic storyline with the Skrulls. They jacked that all up, and they shot themselves in the foot for the next phase. I agree with that, Bruce. It was bad story writing on the fundamentals of being a film. It started out bad and boring. It was boring. I've had people literally come out who, even if they liked the movie, they said it was boring, and it was a boring Marvel movie. Just let that sink in. A boring Marvel movie that is marketed on action. It was dull. The whole experience was dull. That's what this movie was. And they'd have you believe that it was a great film. Okay? Me and Chris Knight and Mary Mayhem and Prime Geek, we all watched a great film. Aliens, that was a great film. That was great character development. That was great aesthetics. That was great dialogue. That was a great film. Yeah, exactly. Captain Marvel was mediocrity at its finest. It was middle of the road. It was the definition of the middle of the road film. That's what it was. And it was propped up and elevated by the media shills and Marvel and Disney pushing the machine and tricking people and marketing and spinning and pulling down ratings and everything they can do to prop this film up, and even attacking another film just to make this film great. And you know what? If a movie is good, it should stand on its own merits. You shouldn't have to hold it up on a pedestal, but it wasn't good. It was mediocre. And it boggles my mind. Why are we settling for this? Why are we settling for middle-of-the-road products? We are better than that. We're better. People deserve better than that. And that's what Disney is pushing. Mediocre, family fare films. You know, they are pushing this narrative about female empowerment and about all these issues, and they are glazing over story just to push out agenda, and this film was a prime example of that. This film was a centerpiece of scrapping story and making mediocre stuff at best, you know, and Star Wars has suffered from this too. Han Solo was a train wreck in every sense, not just financially, just as a film in general. Han Solo was garbage. They killed the idea of my man, Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams. Silky smooth, charismatic Billy D. friggin' Williams. Okay? I would argue that I almost love him over Lando. Okay? And what did they do to him? Exactly. Disney is about money. Exactly. What did they do to Billy? What did they do to him? They destroyed him. Destroyed that character. And now you're bringing him back. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know? And it's astonishing. They destroy a legacy character, and then they turn around and they go, look, we're bringing him back in episode 9. It's fixed. No! You spent a whole movie destroying him! With the robot! With the... What? Yes, Poe Dameron, if you want to know about building legacy characters, if they had Poe being tutored by Han in Force Awakens, that would have elevated him to a character we could have cared about, because you pass on the torch. No torch was passed. No one was. Why do we care about these new characters? No one was given anything. They threw these characters in here with no context, no subtext, no reason for us to care, and then they crap all over legacy characters and say, take it. Why? Why, from a story's perspective, should I care? Why? You have not given me a reason to care. But you expect us to be hyped. You expect us to eat up an episode 9 trailer and be like, oh, the Knights of Ren. Oh, the Death Star. Oh, Billy D. Williams. Really? Really? And then the Emperor? That's your big lead-in? With no subtext to why he's still alive. The freaking Death Star blew up. We analyzed the footage of it blowing up. You're telling me a piece of the freaking Death Star that big was on this planet? And he was alive? I don't understand it. You should be worried, because still stuff in the trailer doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I don't see it. God, I don't see it. I just don't. You know what trailer made sense to me? Clone Wars. That trailer made sense to me. Dave Filoni made sense to me. Why? Because he established his universe. He established the characters. He showed me things I care about. I wanted to know what happened to Ahsoka. I wanted to know where she's been, what wacky adventures she's had. I love Rex. I wanted to know how he felt about losing all of his squad, how he feels about the new stormtroopers. I care about that. I care about seeing how it connects to Rebels. I care about that universe because Filoni crafted it and made me care. And Kathleen and the gang haven't made us care about Star Wars. They've made us despise it. What, they throw out Rogue One. They play on nostalgia in that. And don't get me wrong, I liked Rogue One. One of my favorite, disconnected, self-contained movie. I like it. But essentially, you didn't need it. I can't get behind that. I can't, because they've messed it up so bad that it's going to be hard to connect it. It's like two separate movies that are supposed to be three, but the middle is so messed up. The storylines are going to connect jagged. It's like stitching something that's been ripped apart. I mean, you can stitch it together, but it's still going to be uneven. It's still not going to be coherent, and it's not going to make sense because you have this middle part that messed everything up, and now JJ Watt has to quickly repair 2.5 hours of what was destroyed. A universe was broken in 2.5 hours. It's astonishing. Don't worry, Bruce. I'll cover it for you. That's why I do this. You know? And I mean, don't get me wrong. To Tremaine's point, don't get me wrong. I've never faulted people who like The Last Jedi. I've never said there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying that the writing and the way it was done and the comments afterwards and the way they handled it so cavalier and introduced things that didn't need to be introduced and did things that broke the continuity, that is the mistake. That is a mistake that has a long-term ripple effect, and it's been proven. And then Solo was just a continuation of the idiocy that's been running rampant with these new films. Now, can JJ make a good Star Wars film? Or even, let's just give him the benefit. Even if he makes an amazing Star Wars film, how is that going to fix all of the things that Last Jedi broke? I mean, and why did JJ step away and let just anyone start on his product? Why? Because he had that trust in Kathleen and Kathleen. I mean, no one over there knows what's going on. They fired and got rid of the original storyboard teams and the story team. I mean, and they put in all these people who don't know Star Wars, don't understand the mythology. I honestly think don't care. And it's just so, and now it's like a big cluster to try to fix everything that's broken. And, you can't. You broke it. You broke it, and it's like when you break a piece of glass and you want to save the cup or the glass container and you try to stitch it together, it's still going to look messed up and not going to hold anything. And it's just astonishing. And that's why I am excited for Clone Wars, because that is the one thing that wasn't broken when the shift happened. It was finished out organically, and now it's being continued organically. And it makes sense to the continuity of the story established. And that is the problem. That's also a problem with people having established good story and then crap. I mean, I don't jump aboard. I don't jump aboard the being against people who like these new trilogies. I say from my perspective, from coming from the old films and then seeing structurally, I'm a very story and character development kind of guy. I mean, even just taking out Star Wars or MCU or whatever, I focus when I do a review on the story. If the story makes sense, and if it's a continuation, if it continues to make sense. And that is where, from Force Awakens to Last Jedi, that is where I got mad. Even just taking out my favorite characters, story and structure-wise, it doesn't make sense whatsoever. Whatsoever. The story is uneven, and it drives me crazy. It drives me nuts, uneven storytelling. It's the worst. When you're getting into something and then bam. That's what Captain Marvel did. Even, right to crap. Has anyone addressed that Captain Marvel stole the Super Saiyan mode from Dragon Ball Z? She literally goes full Super Saiyan. I would love the artist to come out and be like, hey, we had this first. She literally turns gold and has that, aura around her. I'm just saying. No, you can never be better than the original films, true, but you can hold continuity. I love the prequels, honestly. I didn't like Clone Wars so much, except for that fight with Dooku and Yoda. But they held true to the material and had the original creator. I just think that he didn't have very good people behind him shutting down some of his ideas he put into that film. But continuity-wise, it came full circle, just like with the canons Clone Wars and Rebels. Thank you, Tremaine. I thought I was crazy. I'm not the only one with that theory. It was full Super Saiyan. I knew it. So, DBC fans, we need to rally around and point this out. I smell a lawsuit. That was a direct rip from Dragon Ball Z, I'm telling you. Anyone who's ever watched Dragon Ball Z knows that's a Goku thing. And she can't go blue because now they have Super Saiyan, I believe that's 4, or Super Saiyan God, something like that. I kind of lost touch after Z, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's so bad. It's so bad. But anyways, wrapping up with my original points, I was originally shooting out a video for you guys, get you guys talking on my little excitement / rant, and to talk about this Clone Wars and all that it entails. So, yeah, I agree. There were a lot of contradictions and awkwardness, but I still love it, man. I still love it. I love 3 the most. Some Oscar-worthy performances there at the end with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Some of the most legendary dialogue, I would argue, came from that movie. I mean, no one will ever forget I got the high ground. I mean, just, so articulately done. Thank you, Tremaine. If she goes blue-haired, we know someone at Marvel clearly watches DBZ and is just taking notes. But anyways, I'm going to bring this full circle. My final thoughts are I am excited about Clone Wars Season 7. I will definitely check that out, and I will bring to you guys breakdowns of those episodes as they come out, how I feel, where I think it fits into the universe. I love that they're bringing back Ahsoka. In my mind, as a legacy character. She established that. She earned that right to be considered a legacy character in my mind. So, thank you, Tremaine. It was good seeing you. And thank you for everybody who stuck with me. I had up to 6 people listening to me rant about Brie Larson. So, that never gets old. Anyways, thank you all very much. This has been my long-winded chat discussion, feelings on the new Clone Wars Season 7 trailer. It is epic. I am looking forward to it, and I love Dave Filoni. I always will. Yes, definitely, Bruce. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening to my channel. Thank you, Tremaine. Thank you, everybody. And once again, please, if you're new to the channel or if you just pop in and you see these guys, make sure you sub to their channels because I'm about spreading the love. Everyone in this community is great. Everyone should meet up and talk with everyone else. It's wonderful, and you guys are the reason why I do these videos, and I will never forget everyone who is on my channel that makes me enthusiastic about doing these videos. I love each and every sub that I have, and please, if you know anyone who would like to see more of my videos, tune them on to my channel. Hit that subscribe button. If you like this, please smash that melee so I can bring out more late night rants. I would bring them to you just so we can talk, because my channel is about talking to you guys and including you guys in the conversation. I love everyone who is here on this channel. Thank you so much, and please get hyped about Clone Wars Season 7 because I am super stoked. I can't wait for this. I love Ahsoka. And Yeah, geek. Yeah, but buddy, you deserve it. You deserve it. You've been following me for a while, and you've been in my streams and stuff. We've collabed, and I appreciate you, buddy. I don't care if you beat me or not. Um, you're a cool cat. You do amazing stuff. Your trailer breakdowns and all your stuff is fancy. And as I figure out the technology, I will catch up with you. Just you wait. Our next stream is going to be me, you, and Prime. We're going to do an episode of Let's Talk. Prime came up with the idea of Mandalorian talk, so I think that will be our topic of discussion. We will talk about the Mandalorians. Maybe we'll throw in some stuff about Celebration that we are collectively excited about. So, I will do that, man. I will do that. I'll hit you up about finding out more about this stuff. I think it's just messing around with the editing and whatnot. I just need to play around with things. But thank you, everybody. Please hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to everyone you see in the live stream chat. Make sure you sub to them. They're all great people. I love all of you guys. And please, as always, remember, I and my wife, my love, the first person who stole my heart from the first frame she was in, Rose Tico, we will see you at the next movie. Until then, good night, God bless, and everybody take care of everyone else. I am out.